myself on a little bit of a freezer cleaning out and extra canning, cleaning out challenge, using up those sort of things for the new preserving year comes on. I also did a lot of freezer cooking before I had the baby, like probably more than I should have, but you know how pregnancy goes, right? So I pulled out some things. I'm going to put a bunch of meat in the fridge to thaw, and I put a bunch of stuff in the fridge freezer so it's easy on hand, and I'm going to write a list. I'm going to try and get through it in the next week. I'm going to show you now what I got out, and I'm going to show you throughout the week what I do with it. Canning wise, I have odds and ends, and I'll show you what I do with those too. So not hard to use up at all is a bag of white chocolate walnut cookies. Here's 2 things of pie crust. Maybe I'll do something with rhubarb from the garden. These are some frozen shredded potatoes, a random bag of broccoli. We had more broccoli in the fridge, in the freezer, but I just grabbed 1 bag out. For some reason, it's not something we've been using a lot of. This has been in the freezer for a few months. We're gonna use this. French toast and some chocolate chip waffles, so breakfast. A few slices of bacon. Some reason got chucked in the freezer and not just eaten. Some taco meat that's moose. It says moose and beef. I feel like it's moose and pork. A couple packages of Bear dry salami. I'm going to just put those in the fridge. These moose ribs, we honestly should have just stripped the meat off of them and ground it. It's so tough. Even when I slow cook them forever or pressure cook them, they're so tough. So we've just been feeding the last couple packs to the dog. Venison neck, 2 packs of venison braising steak, some sausage meat. I have puff pastry in the freezer. I'm going to make some sausage rolls. Salmon, this one, the seal is broken on it, so I want to use it first. And then I've got 3 stewing hens. We've got family coming for dinner on Tuesday, and I think I'm going to do something with them. So then canning wise, things I want to use up. I only got 1 jar of each, but these are things I have a lot of that I want to use up. I have lots of applesauce, so I don't know why we're not eating very much applesauce. We need to get on that. I have some jars of this, and it's now a couple years old, so I want to make sure we use it. We'll have that on the French toast and waffles and such. I made a bunch of these thinking they'd be the bee's knees, and then honestly, my kids aren't a big fan of them. So I'm thinking we're going to try blending these and making popsicles with them. So these are the 3 things canning wise I'm going to get on us using more and see where that goes. I also cooked decent sized ham. It's going to be still a couple meals. We had it for dinner. And I cooked an Instant Pot full of potatoes. And we're having potatoes and ham and applesauce for dinner. Just an easy, lazy Sunday dinner. We've still got probably 20 to 30 pounds of potatoes. They're needing to be used up really quickly because they're like growing eyes and trying to crawl out of the box. So it's also going to be a potato heavy week. But most weeks are potato heavy because we just love potatoes. But I need to like make sure we're using those up this week. So maybe like more than 1 meal a day this week is going to have potatoes. So tonight's dinner.
If I was standing between a calf and
fried
a
them in a
cow,
big old cast iron and have it with some
I'd be
applesauce. Everybody likes it. So using the sausage meat and puff pastry, I made a pan of sausage roll bites. I learned to make puff pastry this winter, so this is from before last winter when I had just bought it a couple times, and then we discovered that with all the sausage we have in the freezer and some homemade puff pastry, it was a super cheap, filling, delicious thing for us to eat, as well as Marius would bring it to camp with him. I would freeze them and he'd bring them and he'd heat them up in the microwave on coffee break. So with the venison braising steaks, I'm browning them right now and making big game round steaks. So it's 3 o'clock right now. I'm browning these. This will probably take me another 10 or 15 minutes to brown them, get them all done up, and then I'll just leave this pan on the stove top covered in foil to throw in the oven later for dinner. So I have a 6-quart Instant Pot. I've got 2 stewing hens. They're 2.5 pounds. These are ones that we did last fall. I'm gonna do 2, take them out, and then put the 3rd one in. I'm gonna shred it all. I'm gonna cook this with a quart of water, and it's gonna make some really nice concentrated stock. So I'm gonna pick the meat off, and then I'm gonna stir it all with barbecue sauce and pressure cook it a little bit longer. And we're gonna have sandwiches with it for dinner. Because I've still got all these buns left, and I have some more buns in the freezer. So we're gonna use up these buns, we're gonna use these stewing hens, and we're having some family over for dinner. So it'll be a nice, easy, make-ahead dinner. Using the leftover baked potatoes, leftover ham, leftover breakfast sausage, I'm making this recipe. I'll link it below. It's super simple though. Just some meat, cheese. I use dried onions. It calls for frozen hash browns, but I just use shredded baked potatoes. Anyways, super simple. This one I'm going to put some milk on now and put it in the fridge for dinner. This one is going to go in there without milk for the freezer for another night. So we're going to do kind of a breakfast for dinner type thing. I'll probably make some smoothie to go along with it. So using the taco meat tonight, we're going to use up an avocado that needs to be used. This jar of salsa has been in the fridge for a while, somehow got forgot about. This is a super quick taco salad dressing. I'm gonna have a taco salad. I feel like a bunch of greens. Using up the tortillas, the taco shells that there was a couple open packages, some frozen veggies that needed to be used, and taco meat that was made up. Cool your jets and serve your dinner. Using that salmon, I cooked in a cast iron. After it was cooked, added a bit of soy sauce, lime juice, and sugar. Reduced into a sauce. We're gonna eat this with leftover fried rice. So I took that venison neck and I made cold venison with it using a recipe. I'll link the cookbook below that it's French dip sandwiches. So we got salad, melted Asiago on there. What's on the other side? Asiago, salad, French dip with the venison neck. Some people chuck their venison necks or just grind it, but it's actually a really delicious cut.
There won't be ice cream.
So these peanut butter noodles, I've got chives, cashews, peanuts, and some sesame seeds in them. It's nice because it's pretty much pantry things. The chives are just fun because they're seasonal, but they're optional. And it's pretty quick to throw together, makes a lot of lunches, and it's good to eat cold. So here was my list. Cooked quinoa, I did make quinoa chocolate cake. I used some sausage meat and puff pastry to make sausage rolls. I've used a bunch of smoothie packs. I actually didn't end up using the pie crust. And I actually haven't used the bacon ends because I'm not even sure why, but there's only a couple pieces and I guess I just haven't made anything that could use a couple pieces of bacon. I've used a bunch of dry salami. I didn't use the frozen broccoli or the frozen potatoes, but I've been using a lot of potatoes that were just in the root cellar and they really needed to be used up first. We've been eating lots of applesauce. I didn't make popsicles, but I did use a bunch of canned blueberries. I made muffins with them. And we've had them in yogurt, and I did use cherry syrup in yogurt and on waffles as well. So I did pretty decently. And just part of using up odds and ends in the freezer.